And then keep that sternum nice and high. All right. We're going to go on wee-o-wee-o-wee-o-wee-o-wee. Ready and go.
Wee-o-wee-o-wee-o-wee-o-wee.
Bases, this one's for you. Ready and go.
Down to the bottom of the sea. 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 Down to the bottom of the sea.
That's me. I don't think it goes any lower than that. Cool. Weeple my eyes. Ooh. And I'm going to do things that aren't written in the music, so you got to pay attention. Ha-ha. Sitting or standing? Standing.
I believe Steve. One, two, three. What do you want to do?
Let's work on the bottom of page 1. I feel like that part is always the and crease. It's always a little funky in terms of. You can go ahead and have a seat.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start from bar 6. Eyes and crease.
So right on the edge of 6?
Yeah.
Okay. And not the dotted line, but the...
Yeah, not the dotted line, but measure 6 in actuality.
Yeah. So what were you listening for?
Just clarity and
Clarity between the parts rhythmically.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it again. And so, so that's awesome. So we're really listening for the quality of that dotted quarter and eighth note in the bass, and maybe the movement of that alto to beat two. No. Do the bassists put a T on two? Not on C's or not on C's.
Oh yeah.
Not on C's.
I not C's. Not
Connect.
C's.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what about the alto? An eighth note rest. Not. Not. Elide not to alas or take it off.
I think it's, even though it's a different section, it's one big long.
Okay. All right. So use your left hand to sustain through that. And let's start one more time at sixth. I bet they'll do better starting there this time.
Spicy.
Yeah. Take your left hand and here we go. Everybody, two and. And it's kind of a crescendo, but you know, sustain and crescendo, they're kind of related, right? I mean, usually when we mean sustain, we mean phrase, which we kind of mean crescendo, even though we think about it differently. So think about that and get your hand in place so that by beat one, it has already communicated that. Okay? One more time. Number 6. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you like that?
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking for? Good. I'm not asking that as a trick question. I really care about what you think.
Yeah.
So why not continue that phrase sustain into the soprano part so that everybody at 6 and so that yeah. And so there's that connection of that bass and alto, and of course the soprano and the tenor is cut off on beat 3, but then and that feeling of that connect into that line. See what you think, and let's see how far it should go.
Sure. Eyes again. Listen
Yeah. Do that last knot one more time. Just hold the knot, that A major. Maybe elbows out a little bit more, and maybe even and I never usually say this, but maybe a little slightly further forward so that it's kind of right here. The rule of thumb that I use in general is the ratatouille principle. And that is, you remember the female chef teaching the kid how to cook, and he was like all over the place, and she said, and she instructed him that you chop, you do everything right here. You don't kind of go like this and keeps your sleeves from getting dirty and all this, and everything was right here. And so how you keep yourself from cutting yourself is that you're in control. And sing not for me and. And think about those elbows and how that kind of fits in it. To it and. Yeah. and you kind of using that space. Good job. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
All right. Who's number 2?
Yeah, I'm very much a floppy boy.
Joelle. Did you know you were number 2?
I couldn't remember. I know
Yeah.
it was somewhere
You knew it was
in there. I know it wasn't first.
You knew you weren't doing the warm up. That's right. It's good warm up.
Wait, so we're like, this is sopranos, altos generally, a good bass.
Tenor.
Tenor.
Bass is over in the middle.
Bass. The Silver Swan.
I'm baritone. Basically.
Okay. I'm doing it in 2.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Season 2. Of course it's okay.
Okay.
Leaning her One, two, three. So 2 didn't work great. I mean, 2 can work. You want me to help you do 2?
Yeah.
I mean, I think 2 is a really great meter, but they kind of struggled with it. And I think you were really smart to kind of convert over into 4. And then they did a little better, didn't they? They did a little better, right? So, right at the beginning, so give us that F major chord there. So all you need to do is put your hand on 1, lift, and go 1, and breathe, and go. Right, so now I'm giving I'm going the silver. So I give a whole beat before they come. And I feel like it's really hard to go the silver when they don't know you as well. That doesn't mean you couldn't practice it and do that later. The key is when I breathe. If I go like this, then they just don't know what to do. But if I go like this, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the breath has to happen, and you can tell the breath makes a real big difference in that context, because otherwise I don't quite know what I want.
Yeah.
So let's try it both ways. Put your hand on 1 and just go. And when you lift it up, then you're going to breathe. So lift it up and total trout effect. Yeah, I wasn't planning to sing, and I sang because I was unable to stop.
Should I do it again?
The silver swan. Yeah. So let's try the other way. So the other way is you just put your hand on 1 and you just lift and you breathe and you go. The silver swan. If you do that way, you can do a kind of a fractional beat, a kind of a cheat beat where you kind of go, where you just kind of go down a little bit and go. The silver, and that's kind of like a half thing. And so that's probably in the end the best one. Oh yeah, they sang. Here we go. So go down, put your finger in a point, and you go down and go. Yeah, do it again. That was good. Starting the choir is always the thing that people are most interested in doing, right? Because we associate people starting with like success, and we worry, what if people don't come in, right? So that made you feel bad probably when you at the beginning we didn't sing, yeah. But nobody cares. Doesn't matter. That is not the definition of conducting, of whether or not people start or not.
Okay.
Yeah, and people haven't started for me sometimes, and I'm like, oh, what did I do? You know what I mean? So then you change. Yeah. So here we go. So do it again. See if you cannot move your head.
Okay.
The silver swan. So you moved your head a little bit.
I did.
Yeah, I know, right? And you'll see on the video. So let me help you. Okay. So I'm just gonna touch your shoulders. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. And so we're just kind of move your arm and then ignore the rest of your body. The silver. Yeah, that's better. So you still do a little bit of this, and all you have to do is go like this. The silver.
Okay.
Yeah, like your body doesn't really matter. It's just sort of standing there behind your arm.
Okay.
So this is really great. I'm glad we got to work on this because they get to see how the less you do, the easier it is to follow. I mean, it's just true. That it's not that doing less is more in conducting, because sometimes you're going, there's nothing for any. I mean, there's no musical message. But in this case, in terms of clarity, clear. That's a good word. Clariness. I like it. It's a combination of clarity and clearness. Clearness. In this case, clarity is caused by. We're going.
I also wanted to do like a crescendo at the beginning, but I forgot. So
That's all right.
Can we start at the beginning?
Yeah. Are we in 2 or you want to be in 4? I love the idea of 2, so I got to work on it, but you're not
I
required.
can just do it in 2. I'll try it in 2. Yeah.
Okay. Did a pretty good job of making it even. Okay? Everybody do that. Everybody take their hand. You don't have to stand up and just go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now take your right hand or whatever, I guess take your other hand and just kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4. And don't worry about the right hand. You're just moving it. You're focusing all your attention on your left hand. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And I kind of am doing a pattern. The point is, if you really focus on this hand starts doing other things. So the way you practice this is you practice moving your dominant hand while focusing 90% of your attention on your non-dominant. And eventually you get better at, so you don't really focus on either one. You sort of focus on more of a global thing. Why not start earlier? If you went like this, here we go. So maybe have it engaged by the silver swan, like
Okay.
silver. The silver swan. See what you think about that. I thought they kind of did kind of a cool crescendo. It's out there in front of me and it doesn't know what to do. So the easiest way to get out of a crescendo is to go to a mirror.
Okay.
To go. Oh, silver swan, dee, dun, 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 dee, dee, dee. And once you're doing that, then you can put it away
Okay.
if you want. Or you can keep going. You want to try that? So when you kind of feel like you've reached that point where the crescendo's kind of done its thing, then just kind of go into a mirror.
Wait, a mirror. What do you mean by a mirror?
So into mirroring.
Oh, just both hands.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you see how natural that is? It goes naturally into that, and there's no danger of you taking your hand away. People like all of a sudden singing softer or something like that. And it's easy to do. Mirroring is the easiest non-dominant hand conducting. You just do the hands do the opposite, which seems to work well with our brains. All right, good job. 1, 2, 3. Oop, I was late. All right. Oop, is it my job? I'll find it.
Do we really just do the claps, like the takes on the video?
Huh.
We know when the next one's
Grace. It's Grace time.
Great! Yay, great! Yeah, we're doing April as my musical space.
April is in my mistress' face. April is in my mistress' face. My mistress' face. And to lie in her
One, two, three. All right. So, which one is your favorite line of the text music?
I mean, it doesn't really mean anything to me, but in her heart, a cold December.
Let's go to that one. I guess which one? Let me ask you. Which one is the most musically interesting to you?
Oh,
That's.
you don't mean text lines.
Yeah, well, right, but with Renaissance music, the music is always changes with the text, and so that's what I was trying. So which part?
Yeah, I got a little bit in her heart.
Yeah.
The other
Yes,
part.
let's go to that part. It's also from a pull-out point of view. It's the longest one because it's given the longest treatment, which says something, right, about what the composer thought. I mean, all the other stuff is nice, blah blah blah, but in her heart, cold December, it gets double treatment. So, yeah. Well, the middle of 2 in the soprano.
So yeah.
So you're just gonna go 1 button and 1 button.
So 1.
So what do you want the articulation phrasing on this to be like?
Well, I thought, okay, since all the parts are all going at, well, except the heart on measure 25.
But it's contrapuntal.
Yeah. Ideally, I'd like to have, but in her heart.
Oh.
So in her heart, and then a cold descent.
Do you want to go body in her heart?
Yes.
Let's see if we can use your left hand for that. So everybody, start with that soprano part and 1. So you can't use a left hand on every one of them, or it would look like this. And then it just gets in choppy. And I think we want this kind of build thing. So maybe we could choose like 2 or 3.
Well, I definitely want to do it when on measure 25 when they're for the top 3 parts of doing it.
Yeah, like for sure that one, 100%, because we got 2 at the 1. So maybe we shoot for the very first one to kind of set up the musical expectation, so other parts can hear that and imitate it, even if they don't get the same conducting. And so why don't we do it then on measure 25 when we're all together? And I think probably then do it again, like in the alto part, when they get it for the first time. And then all together at 33. So maybe those 4 times are used. But in her heart. So take your left hand and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 to give a sense of heart, heart. And then when you hit it, you're kind of looking for a sustain. Everybody try that. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, sustain. 1, 2, 3, 4, sustain. So it's like an accent sustain. It's not really an accent because an accent would be accent. This is, yeah? You want to try it? This is kind of an advanced concept. But I think it's a really good musical idea. So I think it's worth trying. Even if it's not perfect just yet. Here we go. So 23, 25, 30, and 33.
Okay, should we start on 22?
Yeah, let's start on
yes, we're starting on 22.
That is exactly right. Yeah, I think that's the start of an idea. I mean, it would be something you'd want to practice on and kind of get into that. But I really like that we kind of thought about this a little bit, because on contrapuntal music, it's hard to know what you conduct, right? What you don't conduct. You can't conduct everything, because if you conduct everything, you've conducted nothing.
Okay, I have a question actually. So the whole idea that I wanted to have for this song is that it was kind of, I wanted to be like, I would describe it as like flouncy.
Let's go to the beginning.
Okay.
Turn your hands like this.
That's why I wanted to conduct like small, and that's why I was like really reluctant to use my left hand.
So I think you need to be in 2 for this. 4 means too much movement. Okay? Here we go. Everybody sing right at the beginning. And so you get this beat, 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 beat. But if I go into 2, I can go and then so now I got rid of half the beats, which is good, but I also gave it that April is in my misery, April is in my misery. I mean, I think that's really the right interpretation for that. So turn your hands over like this and go 1, 2, 1, 2. And it's not very big. If you go, April is in my, and then that, I don't think that's the articulation that you were getting. 1, 2, 1. And I think it's a higher space than this one. April is in. Try that. See what happens. That was awesome. Yeah, that was very musical. Yeah. So, and this is why we hate conducting textbooks. Because you start writing your dumb chapter on patterns and stuff like that. And you make your rules, the palm must be down, and all these things. Well, none of those things are true, except when they are. And for what Grace wanted, which is a really great interpretation for this piece, palms up and in 2 is a much better. But I could come up with a different interpretation. Sing April is in, and yeah, I'm going a little slower, and so I'm trying to prepare everyone for the fact that it's going to be a lot of unhappiness, death, and suffering by the end of the song. Nobody ends happy here. But Grace went, oh, this is fun. Party in her heart. It's pretty lighthearted, even at the end. But in her heart, it's a cold December. It's probably flirtatious, not really serious. Like, oh, I can't. Yeah. I mean, it's a silly song. All right, 1, 2, 3. We are on. Is that true?
I think.
It is true.
Okay. Huh? Oh, Lord, no. Okay. Oh my God. Awesome. So kind of similarly with what we just covered with Grace, like crescendo into the word stress, and then decrescendo after the word stress of each phrase, and then I'll be showing the like macro dynamics.
Weep, oh mine
One, two, three. So, really beautiful job. Really advanced work on non-dominant hand. I mean, you worked really hard on that. It's really advanced conducting. So, I'm going to only do one thing with you, and that is for people to, when we think about not conducting patterns, like not conducting patterns is complicated for us. Because if we don't conduct patterns, then what do? Like, do we kind of, right? And so I always think, well, we conduct patterns. It's just people can't tell that they're patterns because they're so artistic. So if you're not conducting a pattern, what do? Well, one thing that we do is we conduct the rhythm. Okay? And what that means is we conduct when the music moves and we don't conduct when the music doesn't move, right? And so one place that you don't need to conduct through, I think, is at that held note at the cadence before the B section.
Yeah, I hadn't practiced that, and then it
Yeah,
was too late.
it's
So
not a
I
big
went
deal.
through the pattern
It just gives me a
just
chance to
using it.
teach people
Yeah.
this concept, so don't feel like it's a
Okay.
negative at all. So so that was not. Yeah, methinks increase. Once you get to not, you treat it like a fermata, even if you hold it the exact number of beats written in the music. Instrumentalists like to see you beat it out because they want to know where you're at in the melody.
Yeah.
But singers, they don't care. It's not clear we even read music. And so why don't you get into that?
Started
And-
on the last, the measure 7 alto intense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which measure is that?
Measure 7, the bottom of page 1.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'll give 1 and then altos 1, 2. Yeah. And then basses, don't worry about coming in until measure 9. Oh, sorry, I messed up.
Try that lower on not and just like and. Now put it where you had it before and. That difference in space is usually going to serve you better. The only thing that I would say is sometimes you want to be here.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not always, you need to be here. Not always, but that you have that choice.
Okay.
Beautiful job. 1, 2, 3. All right, Caitlin, our final conductor of the round. Everybody's gone, right? I haven't forgot anybody? Which one are we doing? I miss it. I always think of the movie Silver Surfer.
Why?
Where it's Silver,
It's good to know because like
Silver Swan.
My heart is not.
It's a horrible movie. Are you in 2 or 4?
I'm in 4.
Okay, so just go down and go 1. If you just bring your hand down on 1, we'll come in on 2. The silver swan One, two, three.
It's a mess the whole way.
It was not. There, you are over exaggerating that. And I don't quite have time to tell you many of the things that you did really, really well. But you were frustrated in that one transition spot where you kind of messed it. So I'm going to do two things. One is I want you to listen again to the sound we made right at the end when you gave this really beautiful gesture like this. So do this just like you did before, and everybody sing that last on wise and wise. So the bow that she's getting without asking for it is all because of what she's doing here. Put your hands like here, what I call bunny bunny foo foo conducting, and here we go, and hear the diphthong? Now put it here. Yeah, this solves diphthong issues. So really well. So what happens if we get lost in the pattern, you know? So I have the perfect solution for you. If we ever get lost and you're like, wait, just go like this. And here's the magic, is that this is probably better conducting than almost everything else we do. So if you ever get kind of lost and you're like, wait, 1, 2, just, and then you do this until you get your bearings back and you kind of go, oh, there's a 1, 1, 2. You just kind of do that. And the funny thing about the circle pattern, it's better conducting than most of the other things we do. Like you could probably just keep doing that and you might be better off. But you know, there's more to life than just going in a circle all the time. So I'm all for teaching that. So that's sometimes I've made people kind of get confused and then demonstrate that. I won't make you do that because that's always a weird activity. Let's help you start us out. So you're going to put your hand right here. Sometimes I like to kind of put my just to say kind of where that is, and I'll just go 1, the silver. Say 1 when you're on 1. You're going to go 1. The silver. Yeah. Do that again. Yeah. The silver. Yeah. So this time, say 1 in your head. You're going to go, but don't say it out loud. The silver swan. Yeah, that's really, really good. And so it's super clear to us. The only thing I want you, Caitlin, is you have to look at us when we come in. And I know, right? Some people really hate looking at the choir.
In my spot because I couldn't find it, and I was like, I have no idea where I'm at.
But remember, you're the only one in the room that doesn't have to sing anything. So if you don't know, doesn't matter. The rest of us actually need to know if it's an A or a B flat or something. But you can just be like, like circles. So look at us and breathe, and you're going to go. Okay? Go. Make your breath look like this. Yes. Go. Did you hear the difference in our entrance? So that's really, really magical when we do that. Good job. 1, 2, 3. 3 claps for everybody. And good job. So Allison, I must have not saved your grade from when you conducted last time. I do this occasionally where I do the grade and then I go to the next thing, but unless you hit the button, it's lost forever. So I'm going to have to go back and watch your video and regrade.
Well, I mean, the day 2 video is up yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so gotta take that. Okay. I remember working on it, so something happened, like a button wasn't pushed or something, and I thought I did it.